Assalamualaikum. My name is Hakim bin Halim. I'm from KM 2286A. So today we gonna present about our research with the title of factor leads to towards poverty in Kedah, Malau, Kedah.
Assalamualaikum and very good morning. My name is FAHMI bin FAUZI from KM 2286A, and today we would like to present our research under the topic of factor lead toward poverty in Kedah, Malau.
Okay, first we're gonna look into the background of the study. So poverty can be defined as a situation or a state in which the monetary properties and basic circumstances intended for the least standard of living are needing in individual or society. Poverty can be defined as the type of revenue from work that is poor or in difficulty to meet basic human requirement, short of the educate communication, unpolluted water, and lack of healthy food is one of them. According to United Nations Development Programme in 2005, there are three types of poverty, which is absolute poverty, absolute hardcore poverty, and relative poverty. This requirement include a minimum food basket to ensure good nutritious well-being for the member of the household and other important needs such as clothes and shoes. The Department of Statistics announced that Malaysia's absolute poverty rate changed from 7.6% in 2018 to 5.6% in 2019 after a study of its National Army Line Revenue (PLI) to suit the current condition, which prioritize educate food intakes and non-food value specific requirement. In 1997, the situation improved, where the Statistics Department of Malaysia in 2016 stated that poverty was seen as a common in Malaysia during the first decade of independence, with a prevalence of 49.7%.
Okay, next we move to the problem statement of this study. So the rate of community poverty around this country was sustainable reduced from 8.9% in 1995 to 1.7% in 2015. This is a positive number of poverty reduction in our country. However, there were also more indications of poverty than the national average for Sabah, Sarawak, Kelantan, Perlis, and also Kedah and Terengganu. This data show that insecurity has been arising in the Malaysia rural region. So according to the Household Income and Basic Amenity Survey report made by the Department of Statistics Malaysia in 2019, the incidence of poverty by strata and administrative district Kedah 2016 and 2019 show that the district of Kubang Pasu is decreased from 16.1% to the 4.8% of incidence of absolute poverty. But however, according to the Berita Harian April in 2016, report that there is still have family trapped in the poverty since 2006 in the Kampung Malau Tengah Jitra, where there is no basic need and living in the shack in the past 10 years. So this is case show how serious poverty in the Malau Jitra. And then we move to our subject is Kedah Malau. According to the Wilayah Kemajuan Negeri Kedah Act 1981, the one of the requirement to get the house in Kedah Malau is the household need income below than 1,000 ringgit monthly. So this is show that everyone that apply the Kedah house has been category in the poverty. Therefore, the researchers try to identify and reveal the factor that lead toward the poverty in Kedah Malau.
So we move on towards the research question. So basically, we have four research questions that can be found out in this research. So the first one is what is the extent of poverty that can happen in Kedah Malau. So the second one is what is the relationship between unemployment and poverty in Kedah Malau, where we want to find what is the connection between the unemployment and poverty. So the third one is what is the relationship between infrastructure and poverty in Kedah Malau. In this research, we want to find out how big is impact of the infrastructure towards the poverty in Kedah Malau in general. So the last research question that can be found out is the relationship between education and poverty in Kedah Malau. So in this research, we also want to see how big is the impact of education toward poverty in Kedah Malau in as a whole. So we move on to research objective, where it is relate with the research question at first. So the first research objective that can be found out is to study the extent of poverty in Kedah Malau. Next is to identify the relationship between unemployment and poverty in Kedah Malau. The third research objective is to examine the relationship between infrastructure and poverty in Kedah Malau. So the last research objective is to identify the relationship between unemployment toward the poverty in Kedah Malau. So we move on towards the conceptual framework, where in the conceptual framework, the dependent variable of the research is poverty, and the independent variable, we found out that there are three independent variable, which are unemployment, education, and infrastructure. So the first independent variable is education. Education is the process of facilitate learning, knowledge, skill, value, and belief of a group of people that are transferred to other people through storytelling, teaching, and research. Education, both in classroom or later in life, is one of the best predictors available for the assessing success. So the second independent variable is infrastructure. The vast number of low-income people of the world lives in villages where the level of public facilities, and particularly highway, seem weak, where roads are insufficient, and there have been minimal links to transport costs. Some evidence indicates that certain form of provision of infrastructure services, such as road and transport, are likely to contribute to agricultural development and that improvement in infrastructure. So the last IV that can be found out in this research is unemployment. Unemployment may be described as a concept for people who can work and who are pursuing a work but cannot find a decent job. Unemployment that is usually determined by the jobless rate has been one of the economic measures which separate the unemployment rate by even the total number of jobs. It also necessary to recognize that while poverty is normally calculated using a flow variable revenue, typically calculated on an annual perspective in poverty research. So we proceed to the research method of this study. So the research design that we use is the qualitative research, which is we use the questioning method. So the sample size that we use in this study is based on the population of 400 households in Kedah Malau, where the sample size include 102 households. The sampling technique of the study is sampling technique of probability and non-probability. Moreover, the measurement instrumentation contain of three measurement, which is nominal scale, ordinal scale, and interval scale. So the data collection in this study is 102 questionnaire distributed by Google Form to the resident of Kedah Malau. In the unit analysis, we refer to the individual provide the data which is 102 resident in Kedah Malau.
Okay, now we move to the finding in this research. Okay, the first research objective is to determine of the level factor of poverty. So the first aim of the researchers is to recognize a poverty factor in the Kedah Malau. The poverty variable were evaluated according to the mean seen in the Malau, which may be the lowest average in a comparison to the several other factors obtained by the local resident in Kedah is 2.9412. This is the lowest mean in the resident in Kedah Malau. Okay, next we move to the second research objective, which is to determine the relationship between infrastructure and the poverty in Kedah Malau. So we have H null, which is there is no relationship between infrastructure and poverty in Kedah Malau, and we have H1 is there is relationship between infrastructure and poverty in Kedah Malau. So the table revealed which within the Kedah, the table reveal within the KEDA the correlation confidence, which is R is 0.437 occur in Malau, in the KEDA Malau. A beneficial association regarding in infrastructure and poverty variable. In addition, the relationship of this is found to be mere relationship between 0.41 and 0.70. Beside that, which this hypothesis, the p-value of 0.000, which is at 4%, is less than 0.04. H1 is then proof, which is there is relationship between infrastructure and poverty in Kedah Malau. Alright, next we move to the research objective, the third research objective, which is to determine the relationship between education and the factor of poverty in Kedah Malau. So we have H null, which is there is no relationship between education and poverty in Kedah Malau. And then we have H1, which is there is relationship between education and the factor of poverty in Kedah Malau. So in the table show that there are a positive relationship between education and the factor of poverty in Kedah Malau, which is a correlation confidence, which is R, is 0.776. Moreover, in this indicated that the relationship between this variable is strong, which is between 0.71 until 0.90. Meanwhile, the p-value for this hypothesis is 0.000, which is less than 0.07 at the significant level of 7%. Thus, this indicated that there is a positive relationship between education and factor of poverty in Kedah Malau. So as a result, H1 is accepted. Okay, we move to the next research objective, which is to determine the relationship between unemployment and the factor of poverty in Kedah Malau. So the table show there is a positive relationship between unemployment and the factor of poverty in Kedah Malau, which is a correlation confidence R is 0.441. Moreover, it is indicated that the relationship between this variable is moderate relationship, which is between 0.41 until 0.70. So the H1 is accepted. Okay, we move to the recommendation of these researchers for our next research, which is in order to rectify the research limitation, there is recommendation for the future research, which is suggested not to choose a respondent from the Ulster that are not able to use the technology. As we know, there is a pandemic in our country, so it's be the barriers we to get to reach the written questionnaire. So we have to focus in the Google form, which is the Ulster are not able to answer in the Google form. So it consumed a lot of time by conducting this questionnaire to the people that not know how to use a smartphone to answering the question, especially the Ulster. Alright, next we move to the research limitation that can be that happen in our study, which is a time constraint of data collection. So this is a constraint by the time the researcher have had to compile the result. Any respondent do not want to react to the questionnaire. So the researchers only have 102 respondent, which is less support from the respondent. Other than that, the respondent had to apply the permission to conduct the survey at Kedah Malau and apply for some information from the wilayah Kemajuan Negeri Kedah. So it take a lot of time for we to reach the questionnaire to the local people in Kedah Malau. So therefore, the data collection process cannot be run as a schedule, This also give impact to the researcher to complete the analysis and discussion chapter, as it already prologue the timing for the data collection. As a conclusion, this study had focusing some factor, which is education, infrastructure, unemployment, which is lead to the poverty in the KEDA Malau. The researchers has to select a KEDA Malau local people as a respondent in this study. So this is, however, a drawback to the precision of the data outcome for the completion of this analysis. So I think that all from us. Thank you so much.